else was a registrable offense and emails, but I didn't know YouTube was. And all I ever use it to is listen to music or things like that. And they said it was a registrable offense, and they asked me if I'd ever discussed it with APMP, and told them, I said, I always put everything on there, but I never knew YouTube was social media. I guess because you can make comments, but I never had an account where I could make comments, so I never.
Oh, who would have thought a repeat offender can't be on YouTube? Well, now, sir, you're gonna be on YouTube. Ain't that great? Now, this roach, his dirty jacket, it's nasty, and we'll go over it in the unpacking because Sir Richard found an old newspaper clipping. But in a nutshell, he has multiple convictions against little ones. He's only been revoked after even receiving the 2 100-year sentences. That's Utah for you. Sentencing guidelines, they're just a bunch of gimmicks in Utah. But yeah, revoked. So now serving time again. We'll go through all the information at the end.
So this is a time and place scheduled for a parole violation and original hearing for Jeremy, and is it Bobeda?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Offender number 69183. My name is Charlotte Parrott, and I'm a hearing officer with the Board of Pardons and Parole. I'm going to be the one who's conducting your hearing today. I am going to be taking some testimony from you, so I do need to swear you in. So if you'll please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you for that. Did you receive at least 7 days written notice of today's hearing? And did you receive your blue disclosure packet?
Yes,
Did you have a chance to review that information?
I did.
Were there any obvious errors or any egregious mistakes in that we need to discuss?
It looked fairly correct.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So we have two different portions of today's hearing. We have the parole violation allegation that was brought against you by APMP that we do need to resolve. And then also we have the new criminal conviction that did result in board jurisdiction that we need to discuss. So just for some background, it looks like you were previously granted parole back on 5/9 of 2023. It looks like this was your 8th parole attempt. In May of 2024, APMP requested a warrant for your arrest due to parole violations and then failing to register as a sex offender. We had a parole violation hearing on July 3rd, and that was continued by the board due to the pending criminal charges. It does look like you were sentenced in case 241901143 and 241901314 in July of 2024, and both of those did result in board jurisdiction. Do you have any questions about that, sir?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So in regards to your parole violation allegation, the allegation, there's just one of them. Were you able to read through that in your board packet? Okay. You do have the right to either admit, deny, or plead no contest to that allegation. You also have the right to have an evidentiary hearing if you choose. That is with the board. You'll be provided a board attorney, and you'll be able to bring any information or witnesses on your behalf, and then the state would have the same authority to do that. How would you like to proceed?
I'll plead to it.
Okay, so it's allegation number 1, by having committed or having been convicted of a new criminal offense, failing to register as a sex offender on or about, which the offense happened on or about 4/24 of 2024. You would like to admit to that, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
No
thank you for
contest.
that. Thank you for that. I do find that that's knowingly and voluntarily given, so I'm going to ask the board to accept that admission. I'm going to ask the board to revoke your past parole and move forward with the original hearing portion. It does look like we have your APMP officer on video too. Sir, would you like to give us any information?
I'd just like to add that just with his current conduct inside the prison, he still had a lot of misconducts with this Suboxone, and I am very concerned with his lack of dedication for following the rules. He struggled with rules on the outside, and to my knowledge, I don't see that he's enrolled in any substance abuse programs inside the facility, and I would highly suggest that he complete a substance abuse treatment program inside the prison before next parole is considered.
Okay, thank you so much for that information. I appreciate it. Sir, what would you like to say in regards to that?
Well, yes, I admit I have a substance abuse issue, and the Suboxone related disciplinaries were there because I have a lot of medical issues, and I had an inmate that was kind of forcing me, if I didn't bring Suboxone back, that I was gonna have more conflicts, which in resulted, cost me my Suboxone. And, it's been a positive thing to not have it, but then it's also been a negative thing being, a drug addict. But the choices I've made haven't always been the greatest because of drugs. But it's, I've come down to the point of after so many years of substance abuse, that it's my own choice. If I make the bad choice to use drugs or get high, it's a choice, and at times I've made that bad choice and it's not the best thing for me. And I try not to make those choices. Like staying in here, I stay clean away from drugs. And I did have some relapses on the streets when I was on parole. And it's not the best choice, but the only person I'm causing harm to is myself. And I wished I wouldn't do it, but sometimes it's when being an addict, that's kind of the hard thing not to, when it's present in your face, it's kind of hard to step away from.
Yeah. Let's talk about your new offense or your new offenses.
Okay.
What happened with registering? What?
Well, apparently I was kind of clueless to it. I knew Facebook and everything else was a registrable offense and emails, but I didn't know YouTube was. And all I ever use it to is listen to music or things like that. And they said it was a registrable offense. And they asked me if I'd ever discussed it with APMP. And told them, I said, I always put everything on there, but I never knew YouTube was social media. I guess because you can make comments, but I never had an account where I could make comments. So but apparently it's a felony.
Okay. Thank you for that information. So what do you feel was going good during probation? What do you think you were
I
successful
was
at?
working, because a lot of the medical lists I was in the process of going with attorneys trying to get Social Security done. I was living at the Lantern House Homeless Shelter. I was in the process of getting my hernia surgery done, my knee replacement surgery done. Just the concept of being homeless with the possession of a dangerous weapon charge. I was making food. I was using my girlfriend's knife and cutting up a sausage for some ramen noodles when the Ogden police rolled up, and I apparently got charged for it. Not thinking, but all I was trying to do was make some food. I wasn't trying to commit no crimes with it or nothing like that. I was making a lot of success towards getting my Social Security done. It's taken me years to achieve that thing, and kind of getting sent back kind of put me back 10 steps. But I understand the reasoning behind it. It's just kind of rules of life. And
Yeah.
I was a little bit outside of it, and I get it, but I wasn't trying to cause any harm.
Okay. How are you going to combat homelessness? That's
That's
definitely a barrier.
Yeah, and that's where I was trying to get all my surgeries completed. I've been out for a year, and it with being on Medicaid, it takes time, so I can get back to trying to be employed. I lost my use of my arm, dude, when it was sold out there. I got stomped on my head and ended up in the hospital with multiple facial and skull fractures, which I helped in the case. Beyond that, I just asked the person to get mental health help and substance abuse treatment. He was charged with a secondary felony for severe bodily harm.
Good.
But I hold no ill intent. I get it. Drugs cause the problem.
Yeah.
And to combat my homelessness, I'm just doing my best to get my Social Security going. I was looking into getting help from the church, because being on the sex offender registry, the state does not like to help, like HUD housing. They don't like to help us. There's a lot of programs out there that I was just kind of getting in touch with, that I was learning about. That's the thing that all takes time though. It just doesn't. I wish things were immediately happening, but they don't. Time is like my sentence here. I came here at 18, now I'm 50, gonna be 51, and I look back and
Yeah.
my life is thrown away.
What do you think that you need in order, what can the board order or put as a parole condition that could be beneficial to you?
I don't mind like doing some kind of aftercare, substance abuse or something like that. I've had mental health evaluations done. I suffer from PTSD and severe anxiety and ADHD, but I cope with that. My doctor on the streets was working with me when I was dealing with things. I was getting the medication I needed. I was on Suboxone to keep away from opiates out there. I did have some relapses on methamphetamines, but it was few. But as for stipulations, transitional services is probably the best thing for me, just because with all the medical issues I've got to have all these stupid surgeries before I can be capable to work, and it
Yeah.
makes it difficult.
Okay.
I'm trying my best to rehab myself, but, and here the surgery process is even slower.
Thank you for that. What is going on with your case action plan? Have you been able to
I don't
participate?
even know what my case action plan is, ma'am. I've seen my caseworker one time since I've been back. I've been back for 6 months and he dropped off my board packet or my board application, and that was the first and only time I've seen him.
Okay.
I don't even have a clue what my case action plan is.
So it looks like some of the programs that they want you to complete is the residential sex offender treatment program. Have you ever completed that?
I've completed it 3 times.
Okay. And then ongoing community-based treatment,
Aftercare, yes.
and then custom employment. Your drug and alcohol is listed as needing medical assisted treatment.
Yes.
Let's see. It looks like you need an education assessment
Oh.
and then reentry services.
Okay, yeah, because I've graduated high school and college 3 times, so.
Oh, okay.
uh,
So I don't know why, yeah, I don't create them.
I know.
So I just,
I-
you know,
It's all news to me as
Yeah.
well, so.
so I would definitely get with your case manager, you know, to see what you need to accomplish while you're in custody.
I've signed up for a few of the CBT life skills classes. I'm just
Oh,
waiting to
perfect.
kind of hear back to see what they,
Yeah.
whether they accept me or not, because I don't know how time frame works with them, so.
Yeah, and we understand that a lot of the programs, you know, they do have waiting lists and hopping in the middle of a semester is not always available.
The last time I
Um,
completed inpatient treatment here for SOTP was in 2009. I completed it in 1998 and 1996. I completed aftercare in 2001, 2016. I've been around the block a few times.
For sure. Let's talk a little bit about you getting back into the community. So we talked about, you know, needing transitional services and things like that. Do you have a support system in the community?
I do. I have a family that they used to be from Utah. Now they're currently living in Colorado. I have a mom assistant that lives in assisted living out in Twilla. They're willing to help me as much as they can, but as I've aged, they've aged as well, man.
Yeah.
You know, I've been doing this, my offenses from when I was 17. You know, I mean, I'm 50, gonna be 51 in
Yeah.
December, and it's taking a toll on the family, you know, it just, because we've all aged out.
Yeah.
We're not young no more.
None of us are.
No.
Those are my questions. Is there anything else that you would like the board to take into consideration?
I'm trying to do my best. I understand that I've made bad choices in life, and I take responsibility for my actions, you know. This may be my 9th parole or termination or whatever the case may be. I don't know, but I always put my best foot forward, and, you know, if anything happens, if I happen to go, I prefer to go back to Ogden with Mr. Downs here, because he's been the best parole agent I've had. He was always willing to work with me. You know, he's there for me, at least when I needed the help, where others weren't. Excuse me.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Do you have any questions for me, sir?
I mean, no, I don't. I mean, other than what possibly your recommendations might be.
Most people ask me that. I actually don't preconceive. I don't ever come up with a recommendation prior to a hearing.
It's just
To
take
be
under advisement and we'll let you know.
Yes, well, I think it's unfair. It's unfair of me to base my recommendation just on the paperwork. You know, because that would, you know, definitely be biasing in so many ways. I like to have the conversation. I like to hear from you, you know, where you're at and your ideas and thoughts before I ever come up with a recommendation. So I honestly don't know what I'm going to recommend to the board. But I will promise you, I'll get my report done today and get it to the board. So that way it'll speed up the process of you getting your results. So you can hopefully have an idea of what you need to plan for quicker than later. Okay.
All right.
Okay. Every decision is the same process. You've probably heard this a million times. It is a majority vote from the board members. So at least 3 of the 5 have to review your file and come to the same conclusion. And our process right now is out about 2 to 4 weeks. But like I said, I'll hurry and get mine done, and knock on wood, that'll speed up the process for you. Okay.
All right. Thank you very much,
Okay.
ma'am.
Thank you so much. I'll
Uh-huh.
go ahead and conclude your hearing.
Okay, so what was it? His 8th parole, his 9th parole? I already forgot. Can you even imagine? They granted parole effective as of April 8th, 2025. So the time of this recording, it's in 3 months. So Utah is a little bit safer for 3 more months. If you can imagine, let me just go over with you again what we're talking about here. He is convicted for his first time in 1993 for forcible SA, a second-degree felony, and this is of a child. He's paroled in 1998 because, this is a child. What's the big deal? 6, what? I don't know. What's the math? 5 years. Well, how well do you think it goes for him? Not that great, because he's rearrested in 2003. Not rearrested, convicted. So I'm not sure exactly when he did the crime. He's convicted in 2003. So at most he went 5 years, and it was again SA, abuse of a minor. He gets released in 2012. So this time he served 9 years. They really threw the book at him. And while he's released, he then gets revoked, I think, 7 times. Now, this is the newspaper article that Sir Richard found in the internet somewhere. And this is what they said, this gross roach. And look how just like ridiculous, kid scoop. I mean, just the irony in having this right on top of the ad, kid scoop, huh? Scary. So a Tula man was who pled guilty to felony SA of a minor in 2003 has been charged with felony SA exploitation of a minor in a 3rd District Court. And he charged with 2 counts of second-degree SA exploitation of a minor. Charges were filed against him on March 14th. Oh, so this might be his 3rd charge. What year is this paper written? This paper is written in 2019. Oh my God, shame on me. This is March 26, 2019. So this charge that I'm reading to you is his 3rd, and Sir Richard had this in the notes. I just didn't do a good job reading it. Is his 3rd felony conviction for harming a child. 3rd. Why would they allow this? Plus all of his revocations. It makes no sense. He has 1998. He has 2003. And then he has this most recent charge. 2019. And they paroled him again. How many children must he hurt in order for them to say enough is enough? How many parole violations must he have in order for them to throw away the key? But they don't, because it sends one. They don't have enough beds, or who knows what the agenda is, but it's clear that they do not care about protecting children. Let me read to you for his 3rd time that he's caught. If you think that someone's caught 100% of the time, you're as nuts as the legislators and the parole boards and the judges. A Tula man who pled guilty to felony SA of a minor in 2003 has been charged felony SA exploitation of a minor in 3rd District Court. Jeremy Lee Bobeda, 45, is charged with 2 counts of second-degree felony SA of a minor. Charges were filed against him on March 14th. He was scheduled to make his initial appearance Tuesday morning. Tula police took a report from a witness on February 14th who said his 4-year-old grandchild told him that Bobeda, who was in position of trust, that's a different question altogether, had made them lay on his chest in their underwear and rub their body. 4 years old. The probable cause statement said that the witness said the victim told Bobeda would take pictures of the victim in their underwear while in the bathtub. The victim's mother told police the victim had told their brother that Bobeda made them take their underwear off and sit on his lap to take pictures, the statement said. During an interview at the Tula Country's Children's Justice Center, the victim said Bobeda took pictures of them while they were naked in the shower. The police obtained a search warrant for Bobeda's phone, on which investigators found nude pictures of the victim. According to the probable cause statement, Bobeda was on parole for conviction of SA of a minor at the time of the offense. The statement said Bobeda pled guilty to 2 amended counts of SA minor 2003 and was sentenced to 1 to 15 years in Utah State Prison for both counts. And remember, this article is his 3rd offense. They don't mention the earlier offenses. This is insane. I know he looks ancient in that picture, but he's only 49 years old. He can offend and offend and offend and offend and offend. He's got decades left in him. And to think that that someone who literally is classified by as a serial offender of children with 3 convictions on his record, 9 parole violations, and they paroled him. You just can't make it up. Of course, he's wearing what we call the Chomo necklace. I know by now you're not taking offense to that. We say that because they try to hijack religion, hijack the crucifix, and we don't let them. We call them out on it. And sadly, more than 9 out of 10 times, someone wearing that necklace in prison up for parole has a dirty jacket. You can't make it up. It's just sick. But you know, those sickos exist. But the problem is when the system does not protect our children from these sickos. The whole world can see that this guy is dangerous. His record says he's dangerous. Everything about him says he's dangerous, but they keep releasing him to the public. And we know the state that Utah's in because we've spoken to folks who work there in child protective services, and they are overwhelmed. They cannot keep track of every person in every part of their giant state. So there's no, oh yeah, well, tell him you can't be near children. Okay. As you can see here, in this case, he was in a place of trust with the 4-year-old. There you have it.
Else was a registrable offense and emails, but I didn't know YouTube was. And all I ever use it to is listen to music or things like that. And they said it was a registrable offense. And they asked me if I'd ever discussed it with APMP. And I said, I always put everything on there, but I never knew YouTube was social media. I guess because you can make comments, but I never had an account where I could make comments. So I never